Hello, and welcome to volume 283. My name is Mark Graves. I'm just a regular guy fighting prostate cancer, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride. This is going to be a follow-up video. We talked to Steve Nelson, the animal. Last week, he was going to go do the Sacramento Iron Man, and today is the follow-up video to find out how things went. So first off the bat, Steve, are you and your wife feeling okay?
Actually, we're feeling absolutely fantastic. Kind of like we didn't do the whole Ironman.
Dude, I was crushed. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know the story yet. I only saw the little snippet. So I'm going to hear about this at the same time that you are. Steve, what happened?
Okay, so as you know, we signed up for Ironman California. We've been training for 6 months, training 6 days a week. So you dedicate a huge portion of your idiotic life to training. It's not something for the feeble. I mean, anybody can do it, but you really have to.
Sure.
Well, you have to need it, right? It's not something you just do for fun. It is 2.4 mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, and 26.2 mile run, all the same day. So last year we had that huge bomb cyclone and got rained out. God decided this year to bless us with sustained 20-mile-an-hour headwind or winds and gusts into 35 to almost 40 miles an hour. So the swim is in the river. The swim went unbelievable. There's nothing like swimming with the current. You want to talk about a downhill swim? Oh my gosh. I swam with my wife, so she was having some issues in the swim the day before, a couple days before. So I decided I was just going to swim with her and make sure everything was good and give her camaraderie. The swim is not going to make or break you. It can break you if you're that slow, but generally speaking, the swim doesn't make or break you. So we both got in the water. I swam directly next to her, which was really cool. She didn't have to look at the buoys for sighting to figure out where you're going. I took care of that. She pretty much just watched my silver wetsuit next to her, and we had a great swim. Stopped a couple times, cleared the goggles. I normally, on my pace, get out of the water in about an hour and 25 minutes for the 2.4 miles. She gets out roughly 2 hours, somewhere in there before the cutoff, but a bit slower. Quite a bit slower. We were both out of the water in an hour and 10 minutes and 9 seconds.
Wow.
So just a little bit of current.
Just a bit. Oh, so glad you were not swimming against that.
Yeah, just a tad, right? It was awesome. So the swim was absolutely awesome. I mean, literally, if you just sat there, you just went downstream. It was incredible. The transition to the bicycle was about 3/4 of a mile to get into the stadium where your bicycle was. So that's longer than normal for most of these. So transitions for people that normally take like 5 minutes in a transition, 8 minutes in a transition, we're taking 20, 25, because it was just that far away. So we get on the bike, and I'm going to tell this way, we get on the bike. The first part of the bike was really cool because it was tailwind, but because it's a tailwind, you don't know how hard the wind's blowing yet. So this is great. We're out in the countryside, screaming along, 22, 24 miles an hour on the bike, going like, oh, this is just going to be this awesome, awesome day. Turn around and go from 24 miles an hour to 9. Ooh. And at 9 miles an hour, everybody can do the math. It's 28 miles back into town. So it's a long trek back into town. So you battle the headwinds all the way back into town, turn around, 22 miles an hour back in the, tailwind, turn around, battling the wind, going that slow, putting out the amount of power that you need to maintain even that kind of speed.
Sure.
It's tough to do. So the bike was going okay, not as planned. We were about hour and a half, down 45 minutes longer on the bike than we anticipated. But that's not the problem area. The problem area is we come into transition two, which is the bicycle to the run transition, right? So we're done with the bicycle. Oh, thank God, we're off this windy, nasty course. The course itself was really good. I liked the rural roads. We had this like tree covered area that was really cool to go through. We're out in the vineyards and the farmland. It was really cool. I did have a couple mishaps. I had a flat tire, and that sucked up a bunch of time. But I made the choice after the swim, and my wife Teresa wasn't that far behind me going on the bike. She actually passed me on the bike, and then I chased her down. I just made the conscious decision to race with her. You can't race directly with her. There's rules of drafting, so you have to be about 35 feet behind her or in front of her.
Yes.
The way the rules work. But I made the decision. It's her race. I'm going to race with her. I've done it 3 times, and so coming into the second transition, we pull up to the line, and they have these timing maps that are very accurate. I mean, you're wearing a RFID chip, and we go across the line, and they say you're over time, and they took our chips. We're like, what do you mean we're over time? We're supposed to have this amount of time to be able to get out of here, and that time has elapsed. No, you're over by 4 minutes, so you're pulled. You're done. You're done for the day. So mentally, you're in the race mode. Now you're in what the heck? We just got pulled. We shouldn't be pulled, but we are pulled. And so you just kind of, it's this big letdown. So we kind of stroll into the transition area where the bicycles were, trying to just clean up some stuff because that's it for the day. We hear some rumbling and grumbling from other people. And then all of a sudden, one of the volunteers or staff members was like, oh, yeah, the race officials or the race staff made a mistake. So if you want to run, you can run.
Oh.
Okay. This is like 25 minutes after we came into the stadium. So, I look at the time, I look at my watch, I do some quick math, and we're not going to make the midnight cutoff. There's just no way. We were going to be fairly tight anyway on the timing, but 25 minutes completely wasted, and now you're cooled down. Your head's not in it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of mental. I mean, it's huge, huge mental. You have to keep your head in the game the whole time because one of my favorite mottos in racing these things is embrace the suck because it sucks.
Yeah.
So just embrace the suck. So here you are out of that, calm down, heart rate's down, getting cold because it's evening, and you're out of the race. And then they tell you, oh well, you can race if you want to. We'll give you a new timing chip and you can go run.
Wow.
So like I said, I do the math and it's not going to work. So we call it a day. Find out later that they extended the finish time.
Without telling you?
Without telling us. So we had no idea. And so, now you're out of the race. You're pressed. You're frustrated. So we supported the rest of our friends. The race was great. The swim was great. The bike was great. Technical glitch on their part for the run. So we did not complete the whole event. We were 26.2 miles short. Devastated, mentally.
Oh yeah.
This was the last one that we wanted to train for. We have trips and plans and stuff for all of next year. We're just not home that much next year. Our daughter's here the whole time, so she'll be here the whole time. But we have a bunch of trips. We have a motorhome trip we're taking. We're going to be in the Caribbean. We're going to be in Hawaii. We're going to be, two trips to Hawaii. So we've got all these plans, and so we're not going to be home enough to train. So next year's just out completely. So then I kind of feel like I have unfinished business, because we got pulled. So a big part of me is like upset, and I didn't get to complete it. And I'm not one of those people. I really want to complete it.
Mm-hmm.
So big chunk of me says, I need to go do this again. Another big chunk of me says, F that.
Well, you can totally understand that. I mean, how would you? I can't imagine how I would have felt. I'm sure I would have been vocal about it. That's crazy. Did they find out what caused the glitch? Why the officials made the mistake that they did?
I'm not that kind of person. I am in some circumstances. I'm a very dig in and that, but this one, I just kind of took it as it is what it is. We made our decisions. I made my decisions. They pulled us, and there just wasn't any point in screaming and yelling and kicking your feet, and it's not going to change anything. So why spend that much time and energy complaining about something that's not going to make any difference and not going to change the outcome? I wanted to finish. I could have finished. I made decisions that I'm very happy with making. I am ecstatic that I swam and rode, with my wife. Could I have swum faster? Absolutely. Could I have been on the bike faster? Absolutely. I had a 7 or 8 minute gap where I had a flat tire. They fixed the flat tire for me, and I was able to regain the race and then catch my wife. So it was a quicker bike than her. Yeah. So all of these things add up. And I made the decisions that I made, and I am happy with the decisions I made. Like, I had a great time. I had a super great time swimming with my wife and riding with her. And so, it is what it is. And
That's awesome. I know last year when we spoke, you were planning on making that the last one. You weren't going to do any more after that. And then, of course, things didn't work out because of the weather.
And then this is the last one. And now you're unfinished business.
So I don't know. I know you're booked for next year. I know you have all the trips, your daughter's around and everything. I don't know. I got a feeling maybe you're not done. Maybe.
So this was number 4, and I always kind of had an inkling, maybe do one at 70. So I'm turning 65. So maybe do one turning 70. It's a brutal sport. So I don't know. It's definitely not this year. It could be next year. It could be the year after. We'll look at travel. And it may not be ever. I mean, maybe we'll give it a year and get over it and go like, that's a chapter in our life and it's over, and we don't need to revisit that.
Sure. Because it is a very consuming,
we're not out of triathlon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very consuming thing for you guys. I mean, that takes up, and I'm sure we've expressed this during the videos, but this is not just something where you go on the weekends. Yeah, let's ride the bike a few times on the weekends. This is a daily thing for you guys, and your diet is involved in it, and your sleeping is involved in it, and your biking, this is a lot of training.
It's 6 days a week, dedicated effort for 6 months.
A lot of work.
And the last month and a half to 2 months are absolutely 100% completely dedicated to it.
Yep. I was going to tell you too.
We did it while we were working.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But that's all. We're getting bounced around. So go ahead, Mark.
I was just waiting. I'm getting just a little problem with the feed, but I was just going to tell you, I did get a chance to see you in your race gear on your bike the Friday before you left. You were on your way to my house. I was going the other way in my truck and saw you on the road. And I just for a split second, I thought I should honk at him. I thought, that's probably not a good idea, to honk at a guy on a bike that's zipping down the road. So I did get to see you before you left. Well, I got to tell you, my heart's broken for you guys. I know, I have an inkling of how hard you worked, and I know I couldn't do that. I played 9 rounds of golf yesterday, and I slept all afternoon. So to be able to do what you do, and fighting prostate cancer at the same time is beyond anything I would be able to do. But you have my utmost respect, and I just, God, it was not the outcome I was looking for. And I didn't do any training. I didn't do anything to it at all, and I'm crushed. So for you to have the attitude that you have right now, that's amazing. I applaud you for doing that.
Yeah. So, so we come back, right? So I did have blood work done a couple of weeks ago, and I came back to get my blood work numbers. I went in the Monday before the race and had a biopsy done for skin cancer, and had another surgery for skin cancer Wednesday, just as soon as we got back. So that's another one on my arm.
Oh, they
that's
did
another
more cutting.
Yes, that's another squamous that they took out. I have 2 more skin cancer surgery scheduled for November. So that's not over with. And prostate cancer, my PSA numbers are continuing to rise. So I'm not, I don't know. The doctors are like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, there's a pattern here. And so, so we're still fighting the good fight. We're in that, but we're not letting it dictate our life.
Mm-hmm.
And control our life and control everything that we do. Cancer's not going to do that in my life.
And that's what we're shooting for. That's the whole thing, is it? And as scary as that is, and knowing that you still have more skin cancer stuff to deal with, and your PSA bouncing around, and it doesn't matter what any doctor tells you. When we see those numbers change on a PSA, go up, nothing you can do about it. It's anxiety. We start worrying. But
yeah, and I have a pattern now from the last year of a slow, gradual increase in my PSA numbers. So, I'll have another talk with the doctor and go like, if you take a look at the data and you start doing heuristics on the data, you can extrapolate forward, so let's do something early here.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, welcome to modern medicine, where you have to fight for everything that you get.
Yep. I totally understand that. Well, Steve, I'm glad you guys are back safely. I'm sorry that it didn't have the outcome that you wanted. I am excited for you for the coming year. I know you guys have a lot of trips planned, and you're going to be having a lot of fun. And now that you're back, we got to maybe next week hook up and have lunch.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for taking the time to check in with us, Steve. I really appreciate that. And, continued prayers. I'm so bummed, and I hate to be that way, with you, but I know how hard you guys worked. And I think that's just,
it is what it is.
True. It absolutely is. All right, my brother, I love you.
Love you.
Hugs to the wife, and I'll see you next week. We'll do lunch together.
Great.